everyone is happy about how he started the process. AD in January when he still had 2 seasons left on his contract. Steve Kerr was asked yesterday about that scenario of players getting out of their deals. Well, take a listen.
I'm talking more about the Anthony Davis situation, where a guy's perfectly healthy and got a couple of years left on his deal and says, I want to leave.
Yeah,
I think that's a real problem that the league has to address, that the players have to be careful with. To me, when you sign on that dotted line, you owe your effort and your play to that team, to that city, to the fans. And then it's completely your right to leave as a free agent. But if you sign the contract, then you should be bound to that contract. Yeah, if you come to an agreement with the team that, hey, it's probably best, it's time for us to part ways, that's one thing. But, the Davis stuff was really kind of groundbreaking, I think, and hopefully not a trend because it's bad for the league.
All right, Shannon, do you have a problem with those comments?
Hell yeah, big problem. Skip, did Steve Kerr and Bob Myers, did they go to Andre Iguodala and say, this is the best for you and I, to trade him to Memphis? Did they go to him? Was Andre Iguodala still under contract? I just need to know.
Interesting.
Is he still getting paid?
So is Anthony Davis still getting paid by the Lakers? What about Chris Paul? Did Chris Paul and the Houston Rockets come to an agreement? Say, you know what? If I'm not mistaken, I think Chris Paul signed a 4-year, $160 million deal. Now, I'm pretty good. I have a history. I'm pretty good at geography.
Sure, yeah.
You're from Oklahoma. Is there a city in Oklahoma named Houston, Oklahoma? Because I could have sworn Chris Paul signed up to play for the Houston Rockets in Houston, Texas. So where is that, Skip Bayless? See, what Steve Kerr has a problem with is that, and he's speaking for ownership, that teams don't have the power that they once did. The players do now. Because they trade players like it's nothing. The Dallas Mavericks traded Harrison Barnes mid-game like it ain't nothing. Woo.
Yeah.
Boston Celtics traded Isaiah Thomas. Blood, sweat, and tears. Toronto traded DeMar DeRozan. How many more years DeMar DeRozan got in that contract? Traded him in the blink of an eye. But now, all of a sudden, it's a problem. So how about this? This is how we're going to do it, Steve Kerr. No more trades. Players can't ask for a trade. You can't trade him. You sign a guy for 1, 2, 3, 4 years. You got him 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Okay. We're going to do it like that, Steve. Okay. You good with that, Steve? I didn't think so. Well, Steve is really upset about Skip because, he pretend like he be doing a lot of coaching. So, they call a timeout, they get down by 10. He had KD, Steph, Draymond, and Clay. He put them in. He come over to the sideline. He grab his board. He draw a stick man on the board. Pretend like he drawing up X and O's. Hold on, Skip. Where was this problem when he was giving the board to Andre Iguodala? Say, Andre, you take it over. What was that? Oh, Draymond, you want to call some plays? You go ahead. Now you got to do a little coaching, huh, Steve? Oh, you ain't got KD? Clay's a little injured. Now you got to do some coaching. You worry about your team. Don't worry about Anthony Davis because teams have been trading players since the beginning of trades been instituted. And it was never a problem for a team to trade a player. So let me get this straight. I just want to make sure I'm hearing this correctly, Steve. It's okay for a team to trade a player with multiple years left on his contract if the player is perfectly healthy, but not for a player to request a trade if he signed the contract and he's perfectly healthy. Oh, that's how you try to do that, Steve. No more. No more. The players have that power. Power. I love it.
Okay. So you are suggesting Steve Kerr is overrated as a coach. Is that what you just said? Okay.
I ain't say overrated.
No, I think
but let me
he
ask
did.
you a question.
I think he said he doesn't coach at all.
How many games you think I would lose if Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green on my roster? How many games I'm losing? And I ain't played a game of basketball, but how many games you think I can win?
You might alienate all 4 of them.
I just got to manage the egos. I'm going to manage the egos. I know how to do it.
Well, how can you manage egos when yours is bigger than all of theirs combined?
Whoa, no, hold on.
It might be hard.
No, I'm good, Skip. I'm like, hey, guys, hey. KD, it's KD time this time.
Oh, really? That's what you're going to tell him?
Don't you shoot that ball, Steph.
And then Steph's side-eye at you and said,
hey, KD, pass it.
And then Steph goes to Joe Lacob, the owner, and says, the coach has got to go.
No. I was sitting there just like Steve Kerr.
Yeah. That's all he does?
I like picturing
Cross his arms.
Luke Walton went 32-4.
Okay.
Brian filled in for Steve Kerr last year. He went 10-0, 11-0 in the playoff. Come on, stop it now.
Luke might be pretty good. He got stuck with LeBron last year.
There you go. You always
He might change life and sack.
Whose life?
Right?
Whose life?
By the way, so before I answer, I got to. So he sucks on breath mints?
Yeah, he puts something in his mouth. Maybe it's tongue or something.
You do too, and then you put it back on.
Don't worry about what you
I don't get it.
I know.
Can you see that?
I don't really get it either.
It's kind of gross.
Saving it for later.
I'm talking about. That's my side of the table. Why?
I don't know, but why do you suck on breath mints? Because it's not smell-o-vision.
Hey,
you think they can smell your breath?
I ain't got nothing over here. This is my cup. That's my coffee cup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
So, not only do I not have any problem with what Steve Kerr said, I appreciate greatly that he had the guts, and there are very few coaches who would have the cachet and the stature to take on not only Anthony Davis, but he's basically taking on LeBron James. That's a shot at LeBron and Clutch Sports and Rich Paul. Wow. That's what it is. He's saying, LeBron, you can't threaten the foundation of this league, which are contracts. You can't ask somebody not to abide by their contract. And I'm with you on the trade aspect, but where did you hear that first? I've been saying for a couple of months on this show, they should now negotiate into the collective bargaining agreement that it's no trade.
Yeah.
Once you sign, you sign.
Yeah.
You're stuck or you're good.
Right.
You know, whichever way you want to look at it.
Right.
You are guaranteed that for the next 3 years, you are a Pelican or whatever you are, right?
I got no problem
Because
with it.
Anthony Davis had 2 more years left on a contract that the Pelicans obviously gave him in good faith because they were trying to build around him.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he pulls a number 2 and basically says, I'm sorry, I just went out.
How many more years Chris Paul had on his contract?
Okay.
3 at 121. Where he?
Well, at least he is still getting paid. It's not
Anthony
like that.
Davis is still getting paid.
The problem in the league you played for, they can just cut you and you don't get your money, right? Because you don't have it guaranteed.
So what about Iguodala?
Okay, all right, I got it. But I just told you it should be a two-way street.
Yeah.
No trades.
Because what we're starting to see, Skip, is that teams like, okay, we signed this guy to this massive deal. 5 years, $200 million, 4 years, $180 million. Hold on. It's not going like we thought, and I don't want to pay luxury tax anymore. Yeah. So let me trade him. Oh, no. No. So why can't Anthony Davis say, you know what, yes, I signed this contract, but it's not going like I thought. Okay. I thought we'd be more of a championship contender. Well, I want to go somewhere where I compete. Well, that's what teams do all the time. So I'm worried about my team, me.
Okay, between the lines, Steve Kerr is aiming at LeBron, saying, LeBron, you are willing to threaten the foundation of this league, which is anything contractual, in order to save your legacy because you need a second star in LA, and you finally found one who wants to be your second star, and you just said, go pry him out of New Orleans. Go get him.
Hold on. You ain't got... Skip. But my thing is, why didn't he mention what the Rockets did to Chris Paul? Why didn't he mention what he did to Iggy? What about all these other guys that's under contract that they traded? Did Isaiah Thomas have any years left on his contract? Yes. And they traded him from Boston.
Okay, I'm with you on the trades, but again, he didn't address the trades.
And why not?
Okay,
doesn't that seem hypocritical to you?
I saw Kendrick Perkins take a shot at Steve Kerr yesterday via Twitter, I believe, and his point was, you got Kevin Durant to come. Well, he was a free agent. Yeah. He chose, and he was free to go, right? And even number 2 made that point yesterday when somebody was questioning about what he did. He said, well, I was a free agent.
But what about Paul George?
Okay.
Was Paul George a free agent?
No.
Why didn't Steve Kerr mention that?
Okay, because I think it all played out like we just talked about, where Sam Presti was ready to blow it up, and so he needed a trade partner, and voila, it came out of nowhere.
And you know what, Skip? The thing is that you mentioned LeBron. LeBron is low-hanging fruit. Anything that goes wrong, LeBron did it. You see the decision? LeBron did it. Oh, this guy wanted to go play. LeBron did it. So we always blame LeBron. No, what LeBron did is that he realized that he had more power. See, the biggest mistake that you can make is not realizing how much power you actually have. LeBron James realized at a very early age in the NBA, he's like, man, I got a lot of power. Well, let me see. And he started to exert it. And what the players started to see, oh, look, KD like, I got power too. AD like, I got power too. Kawhi, Paul George. And so they started, now all of a sudden, it used to be teams had all the power. They still have it in the NFL. They don't have it anymore in the NBA.
Okay.
The mega star, Skip, it's only a handful of guys that can do this now. Don't make Steve Kerr try to make it seem like everybody can do this. No, you can't.
Okay.
There's only a handful
I'm with
of guys.
you on this count. I have always been pro player since my early years in this business.
Sure.
Pro player. But more than that, I have always been pro contract. I am as old school as you can get.
Yeah.
When you sign, that's what Steve Kerr said.
Yep.
When you sign that dotted line, that's it. Binding.
Yep.
You have to honor that. And in this the business we're in, you better believe you have to honor that.
And guess what, Skip? No more buyouts. If you want to cut a guy, you give him all his money. Not 80 cents on the dollar, not 85, not 90. You give him all 100%. Because
Okay.
we're not, see, what we're starting to see, Skip, team. How do you spell team? It's a E and an M in there, right? I'm a team too.
Okay.
Brand, well, LeBron, Brand AD. Steve Kerr is being really hypocritical when he sits there and watches teams trade guys like they're nothing and then doesn't say anything about that because you know what? Well, that's where we've always done business.
Okay.
Well, it's a new time now.
Okay, so why do I call number two, till death do I part? Because what he did was even more egregious to me than what AD did to the Pelicans, because clearly the Pelicans were going nowhere slowly.
Right.
With AD. And for whatever reason, something's been missing in him. That's a whole nother story, but they were going nowhere.
Okay.
San Antonio was about to go somewhere. They still had Ginobili and Parker at the end of their primes, but that was a very good basketball team that was poised to make a run in the playoffs. I thought it had a chance to get to the finals, to win the West.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
This year you would have been.
Okay, that year with number two.
Yes.
Okay. And what did he do? He decided he wanted out.
He was hurt.
Okay, so he just quits his way out of town thanks to Uncle Dennis's.
He was injured his way.
Advising him that way.
Injured.
Okay, all right, but that's just egregious. Where you are under contract for 2 more years, but you want out. So he got stuck in purgatory, and it all turned out. And to quote you from yesterday, he was pretty lucky. He got every break in the world, and he won the championship. And
Figured it in literally every break.
Every break in the world, every break. And then he got what the big grand design was. He got to go to, not the Lakers, but the Clippers, which I believe he wanted to go to from the start.
I agree.
Okay? So, again, that's why I say that's unforgivable, what he did to the Spurs, because they were building around him. Obviously, he was the centerpiece of that basketball team.
He was hurt.
He was not hurt.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, build around LaMarcus. That's what y'all told him. You told LaMarcus, come here. You're going to replace Tim Duncan. You the guy.
Well,
So you weren't building around him.
okay, but that
Kawhi
year
showed.
they were building around that guy. And maybe he felt like it was too much pressure. And we'll see if he can
How'd that work out for him, the pressure? Didn't he handle the pressure quite well in Toronto?
I think there was little to no pressure because nobody saw them coming. Nobody expected them. Nobody anticipated. Nobody picked them. They just happened. Way to go.
And I like Steve Kerr, but he's wrong in this. A lot of times I support everything he says, but I
Now
can't.
you're
in this
backing
thing.
off on
No.
Steve Kerr.
Okay. Not in this. He absolutely, he's flat wrong.
It's interesting, though, the difference between the NFL and NBA, which you bring up, and the player control.
Yeah.
The shift that's already
With our
happened.
next CBA players,
Things could be changing.
do away with the franchise tag, lifetime benefits, and guaranteed contracts, at least the first 3 years.
We are going to
Just as long as we don't lose football for a year to get
don't
that.
wanna-
money.
No. We might have to, Skip. We might got to. Not to get that money. We got to get that. I mean, everybody else get lifetime benefits. Come on, how you play the most physical, demanding sport, and you get no lifetime benefit? Baseball, basketball, get it.
I understand that part. We are going to shift to the NFL, though. Rodney Harrison made some bold
Did
claims
he?
that the Patriots don't get enough respect. We'll tell you what he's saying next.